Earlier today, we did see some police presence at his residence. I tell you what, Mr. Gary Nkombo is joining us now to speak on this. Mr. Nkombo, good evening.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. I think the bigger question is, how are you doing tonight?
As you can see, I am fine. I'm okay.
Let's get an update of what the situation is, first of all, at your residence. Are you still experiencing or witnessing police presence at your residence tonight?
All right, Chimweka and Andrew, the viewers, it's important to say to you that the events of today are a culmination of many events that probably you have been, or maybe you have not been following over the last 3 weeks. Today, I decided that perhaps time has come for me to open my mouth. And I was actually on my way home from Lusaka when I got a call that police had surrounded my house, and I saw images of my house being surrounded on social media. Obviously, because I'm a normal human being, I'm got a bit unsettled, but sometimes it's okay to basically give out an interview, and this interview may just suffice to unsettle the comfortable, but in the same token, it may comfort the unsettled. There is a series of events culminating from the closure of Parliament. It's important for you to know that I was excluded from participating in any party events. That you must take as official from me at any level. And because of that, then I invoked my right of association, my right of conscience, my right also to participate in building a society. And therefore, I did not, as directed, did not apply to be a candidate, beginning with the management of the party and ending with applying to be a representative. Remember, I'm a career politician. I have been representing people because it's a calling. So at the point when, things didn't seem right with my organization, I stayed back and I decided that perhaps, the people's voice is the voice of God. And I didn't apply. And so remember, I have had an umbilical connection to that constituency, having served them for a period of time. And because of that, people rose to the occasion by coming to compel me to go and contest as an independent. And I think the story is very clear for those who have been following. And they went to the extent of even paying my nomination fee in excess of the 7,000 kwacha, more than what ECZ required. And at the time when I was called in, I obliged because it was my constitutional right to do that. What that meant is that I also had to respect the provisions of the law under Article 51 of the Constitution of Zambia, which demanded that I must resign from the party that I belong to, a party that I loved so dearly, in order for me to qualify. So I did resign from the UPND, painstakingly, but all the same, it's okay because that's how life goes. You saw what happened during my nomination, something that was totally unfortunate, something that I did not quite believe would happen in the term of my life. And this is why I said this short interview may just suffice to unsettle the comfortable, but also in the same vein, comfort the unsettled. So I decided to listen to the voice of the unsettled who wanted me to participate. And so I was a victim. That was not the end, Chimweka and Andrew. if it wasn't for my wife who came in the way of the assailant, I probably would have been dead meat by now. That did not end.
So, Mr.
You want me to stop?
We appreciate you taking us back to some of the events that have accumulated into today, as you mentioned. But with the police presence that was seen earlier, what's the current status?
I'll terminate at that in just 1 minute. Please allow me, so that for those who may not have the history can then follow the trail, that 2 days later I was summoned to the police, where I was now the assailant rather than the vanquished. And as I'm talking to you, I'm under arrest, which doesn't bother me a little, because the pictures were there for everyone to see. All this, Chimweka, could not have been happening automatically. There must have been a hand behind that. And there were many pronouncements such as one from the Deputy Secretary General, Ms. Menda, my mom, who said I was rebellious. There's nothing rebellious about being rejected and dejected. And so there's many things that have been disparaging about myself and my ways in terms of exercising my right to participate, coming from all sorts of places within my erstwhile friends, the party that I belong to. But that I've taken, because as I told you, I'm a seasoned and career politician who understands that there'll be falsehoods, there'll be facts, there'll be innuendos, there'll be, mudslinging. But I know myself very well. So then came my launch. During my launch, and please be patient with me so that we can comfortably together and settle the comfortable in the same process, maybe comfort the unsettled, is that a week before my launch, my counterparts in UPND had a launch in the same ground. That place was not designated for them. I think they may have made arrangements with whoever was supposed to be in that space. No one disturbed them. And I want you to take this as a clear matter that ever since the ugly scene of the nomination violence, there has been not one incident of the conflict management team managing people's behavior. There has been none. Even as I speak to you now, the sheet is clean. There's no violence that was recorded in Mazabuka since that nomination day. So it was surprising to see how the police decided to be a party to the election campaign by calling me at 2 a.m. the morning of my launch to tell me you are not allowed to have this meeting because of security concerns. There were no security concerns, in my view, but because they hold the power, they went and said, when we go to the ground, you may not know this, but I think the country should know. The entire Mazabuka Central Business District into the cane fields of Zambia Sugar was cordoned by police, so that people who were coming to my launch from Nega Nega, from Lubombo, from Shimungalu, from Kamwala, from Kalea, from Jomona, were stopped at the barrier of the Zambia Sugar Gate that allowed them to come into the CBD for my meeting. After hard convincing with the police, I decided, let's go back home, because the powers that be have refused us to mix and associate with our people. All right? And so as we were walking back home, which was just probably a kilometer away from the site where the launch should have been, maybe I would say 200 meters from my house, the police discharged tear gas on me. They didn't stop there. We got into the yard. I went into my bedroom. They discharged tear gas from outside my gate. And you saw the images. Some people fainted. And I said to myself, is this what I fought for? Clearly not. I want you to understand that. It was not what I fought for. Even if my services might not be appreciated, the fact is that that's not personally what I fought for. And I think that I represent many who may not be thinking like that. So I disengaged when the police said, you can't campaign. For 3 days, I'm home. I'm at my house. I'm not on the run. The fact that the place, I'm coming to a point now, was not open is because my maid, who's in Mazabuka, and a few others who were there to guard my house, told the police, show us your search warrant. They had a paper in their hands. But as you know, law dictates that you present a search warrant to say exactly what it is you're looking for. So when my people called me, I told my maid, ask them to give you the warrant and read it to me so that we can understand what it is they're looking for. So they started speculating and said, no, we are looking for a suspect. Now, that's my house, not anyone else's. Is it me they're looking for? I'm here. I'm not on the run. The decent thing to do is to pass a call out to someone. It's more dignified, you know. You give a call out to someone and say you're required. If it is me, for instance, that they're looking for. And it was not until my people inside the yard refused to cooperate that I'm told they decided to now leave the gate and surround the house. Now, I want you to understand that I'm not there in Mazabuka. I'm here at home in Lusaka. And so the events of what happened today is as far as I can explain it now. Whether they found what they were looking for, whether they broke in violently, whether they're still there, I don't know. But all I know is that I've got a right for representation and to get a legal counsel. So I will present myself tomorrow in the morning at 7 o'clock at my house in Mazabuka so we can understand what it is that the law enforcers are looking for. However, it must be clear, and I must say it, that my inner feeling is that perhaps this is an act of intimidation because, as I've said to you, we have not been campaigning. We have just been, back home because we are law-abiding citizens. They said no more campaign. But you can see, I'm sure you know that our colleagues have been campaigning unhindered, and no one is taking an issue around it. I'm at home on ice. They're busy campaigning, and they're obviously churning out hate speech. That doesn't bother me quite a little because I know myself. And I also need you to know that that search warrant or whatever it was, if it is truly there, I need to say this, maybe to unsettle the comfortable. Finally, Chimweka, that 2 days ago, 2 young men who were in my campaign team were called into Lusaka. They were threatened, they were intimidated, and they were asked to go back to Mazabuka, put on radio to disparage me. That's okay. But my worry is that one of them, his name is Hambulo Chuma, on the day of the tear gas, he had been communicating with these people that called him to Lusaka for intimidation, and he was inside my house. Inside my house. So I do not know, perhaps there were some levels of collusion to dump something in my house in order for them to come tonight to implicate me. He has been the closest person that I've been working with in my campaign until 2 days ago. He had access into my bedroom, into my inner bathroom, with somebody that I trusted. But he was called in, threatened, and I'm not afraid to say, because it actually happened. It's like in a movie. So it's not worrying, it's not even surprising that we had this raid at home, but then they're welcome to come and do whatever they're looking for, and it will be fine to see what they're finding.
Mr. Nkombo, we appreciate that background. Wanted to turn our attention now to, there's a letter that you had shared with the Electoral Commission of Zambia, where you had raised a complaint of the unfair treatment and an even political playing field. In this letter, you did make mention of how the police have conducted themselves and the decision to suspend all political rallies and engagement. You make reference to the UPND, who have disregarded this directive with impunity and still conducting campaigns unhindered. And you have requested for the Electoral Commission of Zambia to give justifiable reasons as to why them as the referee and the police, who are the enforcers, are allowing this situation to prevail. Have you been given any response either from the Electoral Commission of Zambia or from the Zambia police in response to this letter?
I wouldn't say in response to this letter, it was their own program, but they did write to me that I'm invited to the conflict management resolution team tomorrow. I don't know if they're responding to my letter or it is just one way of them closing the matter of refusing me to do my launch. Remember, Chimweka and Andrew, when you are doing a launch, I wanted to present my local manifesto. Are you with me? I wanted to present my local manifesto to the people in order for them to appreciate what it is I have, because, you know, representation is a calling. I wanted to present my manifesto to the people, but I was denied the opportunity to. And satirically, guys, I want you to know that we had a written agreement with the person who should have occupied that space on that material day. I should have been in Neganega, he should have been at Ndeka. We swapped in a written document. I was disturbed, he was not. So I keep saying, what is good for the goose is good for the gander, you know? Why? So I feel that it was me who was the target. Yeah. And I don't understand why. Why didn't they stop the colleague who we signed the contract with? He had a very nice meeting whose pictures you can find on Facebook. And the police insisted you should not be here. Just the same way Mr. Bilden Halova told me on nomination day, you should not be here. So who then takes away my right of association, my right of, conscience, my right to do what I want? But all I've been hearing now, remember, by law, under Article 51, there's a provision that permits for independent members. All I've been hearing, Chimweka and Andrew and the viewers, is that no, Gary is this Mundubile party, which I don't even know the acronym, what it is about. And that's all that there has been. And I want to make it very clear that I am an independent candidate with no umbilical connection to any political party. And it's allowed for in the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia. The decent most thing to do is to allow me to go and fail in the ballot and not using the tactics that I've seen this far. I have been threatened, I want you to know. I have been coerced, I want you to know. People have come, no, withdraw. I'm not a withdrawing type. And maybe I can use this platform to unsettle the comfortable. But stop sending emissaries.
For many Zambians that have followed you keenly in the UPND, they never saw this day coming to light. That there'll be a time that you and the UPND will lose, the connection that you've had for so many years, and the work that you've done for the UPND for so many years. Nobody, foresaw that this would happen. For many with questions, unsettled questions in their minds, what possibly could have happened for this fallout to happen. There's so many things we've heard. There's so many UPND members we've interviewed on our platform that have said different things. Among them, they said that this fallout started when you, as Honorable Gary Nkombo, decided to go against the position of the party and the position of the executive to vote against Bill 7. Maybe we hear it from you. You've highlighted here also that you are communicated to by the party to disassociate yourself from participating at any level of the party. Maybe we get an understanding whether you are given the reason for why you must disassociate from participating, also whether it's true that the reason for why there's this fallout between you and the UPND is because you voted against Bill 7.
Let me say this to you. There was 9 people that were alleged not to have voted for the bill, all right? Are you understanding? 9, and I can name them in one breath. 5 were cleared, 4 were found guilty. You understand? 4 were found guilty by the tribunal that sat to deal with the issue of Bill 7. And so I found myself to be in the batch of 4. All that notwithstanding, it's not a crime to go independent. And for this moment, maybe I must make it extremely clear to yourself, without shame, that I participated with a yes voice, yes vote for Bill 7. That I can tell you now, without any fear of any contradiction, I did vote for Bill 7. All right? because I was under the 3-line whip arrangement. It was my party position. To have found myself in that situation where I was now told you are rebellious, like Mrs. Imenda has said. Look, Mr. Mwanga has contested in his Shiwangandu seat. Why isn't there noise around it? Because he was bad together with me. And so I think that's my answer to you. And I'd like you to take note that all this that has happened is water under the bridge. I've accepted it myself. But what I won't accept is for people to stop me from participating in national affairs, especially that I have disengaged from UPND by way of writing a resignation letter and in no uncertain terms resigning from UPND. I have a clear copy of the letter which I submitted long before the 2 months is elapsing in the next 2 days. So why am I an issue? Why should they continue pursuing me even up to my house, putting tear gas inside my house? And I'm not looking for sympathy at this point.
Which is very
I'm simply saying that.
Which is quite unfortunate, Honorable Nkombo. But also, after the fracas of your attack happened, when you're filing in your nomination, we saw quickly the president getting to react to that incident that happened to you in Mazabuka. But I think what we saw from you was a statement that was not so, well, you seem not to be so happy. You mentioned that all that has been done by the police to arrest those that attacked you was merely window dressing. Why did you call it window dressing?
Why did I call it what?
Why did you call it window dressing or a scripted way of doing things?
Sorry, I can't get you, Andrew.
Well, maybe just to recontextualize Andrew's question, he's making reference to the statement by President Hakainde Hichilema after the events on the day on which you're filing your nominations and you being harassed. The Republican president did put out a statement condemning those acts and calling on the Zambia police to take action. And maybe just good to get your position on that. The fact that the Republican president responded to that, and we saw that the police arrested some individuals, also seen in the videos.
Excuse me, guys. I decline to make any comment around that particular issue, and please allow me the right not to comment around it. Because I've already explained to you where the assailant becomes a victim. So it's for you to add 1 and 1. It's not for me to answer what the head of state has said. I respect him so much and let it remain there.
The party also has been very clear on independence that independent candidates must operate independently, must not carry UPND regalia at the campaigns, but also they've said that it's conflict of interest where you campaign for President Hakainde Hichilema while you're campaigning for yourself. We've heard you in videos of some of your campaigns having to suggest that President Hakainde Hichilema will win the elections, and when he wins the elections, you're still going to work with him. Probably maybe put this in context, Honorable Nkombo.
What choice does anyone have but to follow the constitutional provisions? Because when one wins elections, I still think he will win, and you can't bar me from thinking like that. And so if my statement during my campaign rally appeared to have had a conflict of interest, I could only say it would never be said again. And yes, indeed, I was confronted to say, stop using the name, and I stopped. Okay? My conscience told me he'll win. But if I'm not allowed to communicate that, it's so be it. But it's not a crime. It's not a crime.
So, Mr. Nkombo, during this particular period, while all this has been happening, or even prior to the filing in of nominations, have there been any efforts by any senior member of the party to reconcile with the UPND, yourself to reconcile with the UPND? Have there been any efforts or approaches towards you to reconcile with the party?
Look, a reconciliation means that you must identify the point of departure, not so. Doesn't that mean so?
But could be one way. I mean, once those reasons are established, it could help in going forward. Was this the case for you?
Okay, let's put it this way. When a relationship fails, what choices do you have?
People have different options. People could sit down and talk, discuss what the problem could have been, and chart the way forward. So that's what I want to find out from you. Have there been any efforts to have this done in any way?
It's supposed to be a two-way traffic, isn't it?
Is this to say that you have made your efforts to have this reconciliation done?
I'm saying to you, sir, it's supposed to be a two-way traffic, right?
Of course, two will have to agree.
Good.
Has there been efforts from any side, from whether your side or from the party leadership side?
If it's a two-way traffic, I've just, in my opening remarks, I told you I was asked not to participate in any political activities at a certain point, not even by-elections. Remember, I was a chairman for elections, not even nothing. So I then became even less than a branch chairman. So just sit here and this is it. Is that the way you reconcile? If ever there are differences? I don't think so. So in all fairness, to exit was the only option I had, which I do not regret at this point in time, because it is water under the bridge. The whole point is that I have no hard feelings. I just decided to take my route and become an independent. If I lose, fine.
Now, still on that,
also fine.
Still on that, Mr. Nkombo, we have seen some members of the party who are also in cabinet, people who had served as members of parliament, were eventually appointed, and in the build-up to the 2021 filing in of nominations, we did see quite a number of people who withdrew from the parliamentary race and decided to pledge their loyalty towards President Hakainde Hichilema. We've seen this for quite a number of them, and the expectation is that perhaps this would have been the case for you, Mr. Nkombo. And the fact that this did not happen, you have been described as a man who is pompous, and this has also been seen to some as your way of trying to challenge the UPND and trying to challenge President Hakainde Hichilema, who's leader of the UPND. What's your comment on this, on people who feel that you have, quote-unquote, grown big-headed and are pompous to challenge President Hakainde Hichilema?
Okay, I'll answer you in one breath, Chimweka. Going from what I've just elaborated, going into the nomination of this year, how many of those colleagues were treated the way I was? Is it possible for you to answer that?
Well, you're not the only former cabinet minister or former member of parliament who was relieved of his duties. We can give an example of the former minister of health, who was also a member of parliament. He was relieved of his duties and was not adopted in the parliamentary race, but he still stands on pledging his loyalty to the party, to the Republican president, who's a party president as well. And that is why some people felt that you would have gone in a similar direction.
I'm different from Honorable Michima. My circumstances were different from Honorable Michima, the one you're using as an example. Okay? And I want you to understand that, this particular assignment is servitude, an assignment that is people-driven. That's why they say vox populi, vox Dei. You understand? The voice of the people is the voice of God. In my view, when people came to collect me from my house and told me, we've already paid your nomination fee, I had to respond to them. That does not mean that I do not respect the powers that be. No. Perhaps you can talk about the loyalty which you have talked about, but even loyalty is a two-way thing. And that there's nothing arrogant about saying loyalty is a two-way thing. If you, Andrew, and your wife at home, your loyalty should be a two-way traffic.
Yeah.
You understand?
I know that in the past you've bluntly refused this question that I'm about to ask Honorable Nkombo. But have thoughts ever come to your mind? Have you ever entertained the thoughts of becoming president one day of this country?
Look, I have never said to anybody okay? Anyone that I want. I've heard this subject before, and I'm sure you have heard it before.
My question again is, have you ever entertained thoughts of becoming president? I know that people have accused you.
Can you allow me?
Yeah.
I said, Vox Populi, Vox Dei. If the people say so, that Mr. Andrew Mwansa should become the president, what choices would you have? I'm using you as an example because you're a human being, a Zambian, who is capable of being a president.
Have people ever
I've just answered you clearly. I've answered you clearly that I have never gone to campaign to anyone that this is the slot that I'm looking for. I've heard that accusation many times. I've lived with it for the longest time. And I believe in God. And whatever God has put in stock for me is what will go. If this 2026 election is going to be the eclipse of my political career, I will accept it. If it will be furthered from what it is now to become a backbench, as it sounds to be, going into the next election and I'm still alive, that issue of leadership, sir, is a calling. It's not just a matter of waking up and saying, I want to be such. No. So I've answered you clearly. I've never campaigned for the presidency of this country. Not to anybody.
As we conclude, Mr. Nkombo, speaking of considerations and entertaining thoughts, there have been some suggestions and I guess recommendations from some citizens that you, Mr. Nkombo, should consider working with the opposition. Some of the common names that have come up include the president of the National Reconciliation Party for Unity and Prosperity, NRPUP, President Mr. Brian Munduwile, alongside his running mate Makebi Zulu. Are there any considerations or thoughts being entertained to collaborate with the opposition, especially post-2021?
Let me just put it more clearly to you, because I've said it once, I've said it twice, that for you to be in any one single cell, you have to be of like mind. You understand? Am I right? You have to be of like mind. Those colleagues come from Patriotic Front, a party that I never ever dreamed to join, and up to this moment, I've not dreamed to join. So I am independent. I'm not in any discussion with anybody from any political party. I'm standing on my own. And if the people's voice has been saying I must collaborate, I must first find something in common with them, which I have not seen.
Mr. Nkombo, thank you so much for speaking with us
My
this
pleasure.
evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.